Hello, and thank you for tuning in. This is Eddie O. If you like your videos that you see, please like and subscribe. Hit that bell every time to follow my videos. Find me on all social media. Eddie O. Eddie O knows. What does Eddie O know? Less than he knew before. I'm what most would consider Gen X. If you had to have a Gen, X is a good one to be. Sounds cool to me. I've always liked the X-Men. Mr. Sinister was great. There was a lot of cartoons I was affected by, I think, beyond the X-Men. Had to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was born in 1979. I was 8 years old. And something about those Ninja Turtles were on at 4 o'clock. And I was on the edge of that couch where I would sit, remembering what I would call my show. Looking back now at the seasons and how much they changed, it's not how it was then. There was infinite episodes when I was young, before Krang and the Technodrome. And some of the other characters, Trog and his army. But it all started many, many years ago in Japan with the great ninja Amato Yoshi. Amato Yoshi was trained by observing his master while he was in a state of entrapment. Amato Yoshi did have an adversary who he met much later on his journey in America after he left Japan. That adversary would become the Shredder. The Shredder was responsible for taking the life of Amato Yoshi's love. After finding peace, Amato Yoshi lost and traveled and journeyed and finally found himself again through becoming a father to four unlikely children, four turtles. And Amato Yoshi, taking on the name Splinter, had much to teach these four individual turtles. He would train them in the ways of the ninja, to battle and protect, to honor, and what he bestowed upon them, each individually, was a weapon. Splinter, Amato Yoshi, put much thought into each weapon for each turtle. For each turtle had challenges, strengths, weaknesses, but the wise Splinter knew much and showed them what they do not have. They already may. Michelangelo was given the nunchaku. The nunchucks would serve purposes for Michelangelo. For Michelangelo lacks focus. Michelangelo's scattered attention makes it hard for him to control the unpredictable movements of the nunchucks, so mastering them would help instill focus and discipline. Michelangelo's impulsive actions, his tendency to act without thinking, often leads to mistakes, and nunchucks require patience and careful timing. Teaches him to think before acting. Although fun, Michelangelo's overly playful. Michelangelo's playful nature can make him careless, but the risk of injury with the nunchucks encourages him to be more serious and cautious. Splinter could see Michelangelo had difficulty with structure. So, again, through the tool, the nunchuck, Michelangelo, although resisting routines, but practicing with the nunchucks regularly, demands that he follow a consistent practice schedule, building structures into his life. Avoids consequences. Michelangelo often acts without considering the outcome, but the nunchucks require him to be mindful in every move, or he will feel the consequences firsthand. Splinter could see in Michelangelo a restless energy, and his high energy levels often lead to reckless behavior. The precision needed for nunchucks channels his energy into something productive. Michelangelo often lying down eating pizza and has inconsistent effort. Michelangelo often gives up on something if he feels it is too challenging. But the nunchucks differently teaches persistence and commitment. Easy to see, Mikey is easily distracted. He loses focus quickly, so the complexity of the nunchucks demands his full attention, teaching him how to tune out distractions. So carefree and unprepared, Michelangelo, like a butterfly, he likes to wing it. But the nunchucks do not forgive mistakes, which encourages him to prepare and respect the weapon's power. Preferring fun over responsibility, Michelangelo's nature is a natural inclination for fun over discipline, but that conflicts with the focus and maturity the nunchucks require, guiding him toward balance between fun and responsibility. 4 children, 4 unique souls, 4 paths. Donatello, perhaps the shyest of the bunch, turned to science, structure, schematics, blueprints, outcomes, research. So Donatello was given by Yamato Yoshi, Master Splinter, a stick, a simple bow staff given to Donatello. The lessons would be taught, the resilience and reliance of complexity all the time. Donatello prefers complex situations, but the simplicity of the bow staff challenges him to see the effectiveness in straightforward tools and approaches. Focus on results. Donatello expects immediate, measurable outcomes, yet the bow staff teaches him patience. Mastering it is a gradual process without instant feedback. Of course, Donatello's attachment to technology. Donatello relies heavily on gadgets, so in using a basic wooden staff, forces him to engage with his surroundings directly without technological assistance. Donatello's desire for precise schematics, exact plans. Yet the bow staff requires adaptability, teaching him to think on his feet and react to unexpected situations. But someone like Donatello needs evidence and proof. Scientific mind wants proof of effectiveness, but the bow staff demands faith in his skills, showing him that not everything needs tangible evidence to work. And Donatello would rather avoid most physical situations, but by finding comfort in intellectual solutions, he is stagnant. But the bow staff pushes him into physical action, balancing his intellectual and physical skills. Donatello would often prefer tools over himself. He feels weak without gadgets, and the bow staff reminds him that he himself is a powerful tool. Donatello's overthinking, analytical mind, but the bow staff in its simplicity requires instinctive actions, helping him trust his intuition. And I know if it's true, it must be logical to Donatello and his dependence on logical solutions. Yet, Amato Yoshi, Splinter, could see through using the bow staff. It will teach him that sometimes instinct and feeling are as powerful as logic. Clearly, the strongest and most gifted turtle was Raphael. Raphael had many challenges, many energies. Yet, Amato Yoshi, through the gift of the Sai, would teach him valuable lessons. Raphael had a short temper. Raphael's impatience often leads to impulsive actions, but the Sai requires calmness and strategic thinking, practicing patience and restraint. Raphael's tendency toward aggression, naturally drawn to attack, yet the Sai's defensive design forces him to wait for the right moment, teaching him to manage his aggression and only strike when necessary. A strong reliance on force, often thinking brute force is the solution, but the Sai emphasizes precision and control over power, showing Raphael that subtlety can be more effective than raw strength. Someone so forthright, direct, and blunt as Raphael has difficulty with misdirection. But Sensei Splinter gifts him the Sai that relies on misdirection and diversion, encouraging him to use strategy and subtlety instead of rushing in head on. Raphael's desire for control and dominate conflicts is challenged within the Sai in itself. It's designed for defense, requiring adaptability, helping him learn flexibility and letting go of control. Raphael often seen with the underestimation of defense. He sees defense as passive, weak, but the Sai shows him that defense is powerful, teaching him to value protecting himself and others instead of only attacking. Amato Yoshi could see resistance to planning in Raphael. Not one for elaborate strategies was clear, but to use the Sai effectively involves forethought and setting up moves to develop patterns and strategic planning. Difficulty with restraint over committing to the fight would leave Raphael withered and tired, yet still willing to fight, yet with no body behind it. The sigh requires him to hold back, respond only when necessary, promote self-discipline, measured actions, a clear preference for physical action over thought. Raphael would charge in without thinking, but the sigh granted by Splinter forces him to slow down and engage in his mind, teaching Raphael to balance instinct with calculated moves. There was a clear leader early as the turtles came into Amato Yoshi's new life. Leonardo, a clear quality in how he looked to the sky and to the west. Being so strong, a hero, a leader, which lead him to lead others. Unfortunately, so much flaw can be found in Leonardo. Someone to be honorable and make the right decisions is given the weapon of the katana blade, a weapon of life or no life at all, a weapon of civilizations falling, a weapon of history changing and leaders and countries changing hands. Amato Yoshi could see this hero complex, Leonardo feeling responsible for everyone's safety. But now the katana, a weapon of finality, teaches Leonardo the weight of his choices, pushing him to let go in the idea that he alone must bear every burden. His perfectionism is seen, his drive to be flawless and lead to self-doubt in himself. Yet the precision required by the katana blade teaches him that mistakes are part of mastery, helping him accept his own imperfections. As a leader, Leonardo fears letting others down, but the katana blade's lethal nature reminds him that mistakes carry lessons, reinforcing that failure is a stepping stone in his growth. Seeing him alone, Amato Yoshi could see the self-pressure that Leonardo had, pressuring himself to live up to these high standards. Yet wisely, the katana blade requires calm focus. Overthinking disrupts his technique, encouraging him to ease his own self-imposed pressures. The strict, rigid discipline can make Leonardo sometimes inflexible, but to wield the katana, you are required to be fluid, adaptable in your movements, teaching Leonardo to be more open to the change. For such a leader, Splinter saw a tear held by a lash with a struggle Leonardo carries in his morally gray decisions. Leonardo's strong moral compass is often challenged by the katana's purpose, forcing him to confront difficult choices and recognize that leadership involves tough, sometimes morally ambiguous decisions. Such an oomph of power controlling him, called responsibility. He takes on all of the responsibility for the team's outcome. But mastering the katana alone reminds him that each member has their own path of mastery and accountability. A good leader, as Leonardo believes, he should not embrace aggression. Leonardo is reluctant to embrace his aggression, yet the katana requires assertiveness and courage to make these difficult choices, pushing him to balance compassion with decisiveness. How could his desire to protect innocence be a flaw to Leonardo? He wants to protect the innocence of his brothers, but the katana reminds him that they too must face difficult realities, helping him accept that they need to experience their own challenges. Oh, such a great one you are, Leonardo, as Hamato Yoshi said to himself as handing him this katana blade. The internal conflict between warrior and protector. Leonardo is torn between being a protector and a warrior. The katana helps him to integrate these roles, showing him that true leadership balances both the compassion to protect and the strength to fight when necessary. These points of the katana challenges Leonardo to grow beyond his strict ideals of leadership, helping him balance responsibility with self-expectance and acceptance, moral flexibility. If you guys like these videos, please like and subscribe. It's Eddie O. Follow me on all social media. Hit that bell so you know you're notified when I'm here live on YouTube. Splinter and Leonardo are training in the dojo. Leonardo practicing precise katana strikes, moving with intense focus and effort, his brow furrowed in concentration. Splinter watches and then speaks. Leonardo, you move with such intensity, almost as if each stroke carries the weight of something unseen. Leonardo pauses and catches his breath. Master Splinter, I want to be perfect. If I make one wrong move, if I fail, everyone is at risk, Sensei. I can't afford to make mistakes. As Splinter thinks to himself, ah, my son, so much weight you carry upon yourself. To be a leader and a protector is a heavy path. But must the path always be so rigid, so unyielding? And what would happen, Leonardo, if you did stumble? Sensei, if I stumble, the others could fail. Master, I'm the one responsible. I cannot allow myself any weaknesses. And yet, Leonardo, every master of the blade has stumbled. The sword itself has its flaws. Perfection, like water in one's hands, will slip through your fingers. Splinter picks up this katana blade with an intentional flaw in his form. Observe, Leonardo. The blade moves, and yet does it still not cut? But Master Splinter, I'm anything less than perfect. I can truly lead. They're counting on me to be stronger than that. Perhaps they count on you, yes. But do they count on a flawed sword or a heart strong enough to face what comes? To lead does not mean to carry others' weight. Each of your brothers must walk their own path beside you, not in your shadow. Leonardo forgets that his brothers too carry strength. My child must see that vulnerability does not weaken him, but rather completes him. The katana, Leonardo, is a weapon that cuts with intention, not perfection. To wield it requires balance, but not only in the body. Balance must be found here, in your heart, where the fear of failure can find peace. Splinter, you're saying I don't need to be perfect. Leonardo, perfection is an illusion. What matters is the strength to rise each time with your heart open and clear resolve. Don't lead with the weight of perfection, but with the courage to simply be enough. As Splinter and Raphael are in the dojo, Raphael's practicing with his sai, almost reckless. Splinter's watching, noting the frustration. Raphael, such power you have. But tell me, what are you fighting right now? I'm not fighting anything, Sensei. I'm just training. Ah, training. Yes, I see. Your strikes carry the fire of battle, as though there's an unseen opponent before you, Raphael. Perhaps there's something that you wish to conquer. I don't know. Maybe. I just, if I don't push harder, I'm not going to be the strongest, and then I'll lose control. I hate it. I can see his anger is his shield, and it has served him. But one does not see how heavy a shield can become. Tell me, Raphael, do you believe the Psi's strength lies in its force, or something more subtle? It's a weapon, Master. Its strength isn't how I use it. If I don't hit hard, what's the point? Yes, and yet, the Psi, a weapon of defense, one that turns enemy strength against them. Its true skill not lie in brute force, but the ability to redirect, to wait, to listen, my son. In his own mind, Splinter, he sees strength only in force, but failing to realize strength of restraint. Perhaps he believes that by hitting harder, he will silence the storm within, yet only peace can calm the storm. To wield the Psi Raphael is to understand balance and control. It is a weapon that calls for patience. To rush in with anger leaves one open. But wait and allow the moment to reveal itself. This is where true strength lies. Patience, Master, that's not me. Ain't got time to wait around. I want to take action. I want to make things happen. And yet, Raphael, rushing to act is like grasping water with your fist. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. Sometimes, Raphael, strength is not in the swing of the fist, but the courage to pause and see clearly. You have fire, my son, but fire uncontrolled can burn all that it touches. To be strong is to be steady, to know when to strike and when to hold. Donatello and Splinter are alone in the dojo, and Donatello quietly working through some calculations, working on the distance his bow staff can strike. A very tense, distracted Splinter notices Donatello's gaze softening. Donatello, your mind appears elsewhere tonight. Is something troubling you? Well, it's just sometimes I wonder if I really belong out there. This bow staff, Master Splinter, it's just a stick. When I'm with the others, I'm the one without a real weapon. Maybe I'm just the smart one, but sometimes it's all I'll ever really be. The smart one. Ha, so much wisdom in this child, and yet only sees himself in pieces, failing to see the whole of his worth. Tell me, my son, does a tool truly define its user? I don't know. I want to help everyone, protect them, but what good am I with just a staff? I fix things, I build things, but when it matters most in the heat of battle, it's not enough. But consider this, Donatello. blade, though sharp, knows nothing of patience or precision. The bow, it is humble, yes, but in humble things there is great strength. Not to know his own power, the knowledge he has is not enough. He longs to prove his worth with his strength, but he's so precious a soul to let himself believe he must be more. Donatello, to carry the bow is to carry balance. A tool of simplicity, yes, but in your hands it is more than that. It is an extension of the mind, a reminder that strength does not come only from force, but from understanding. Master, what if I'm not enough? What if they need me to be something else? Someone who's stronger, someone who doesn't have to think so much? There's great strength, and there's greater strength. The greater strength in the one who knows himself. Donatello, you do not need to be like your brothers. You are enough, my son, exactly who you are. While they may not say it, they look to you not only for answers, but for courage, for heart. Master, sometimes it feels like the only thing that matters is keeping everyone safe, and I'm scared. Scared I won't be able to. And yet you do, every day, by simply being you. Strength, my son, is not just in the hand that strikes. It is in the mind that questions, and in the heart that cares. You, Donatello, hold that strength, and it will guide you as surely as the bow in your hands. Michelangelo is practicing with his nunchucks in the dojo, swinging them with lots of energy, but he fumbles, loses his grip. Nunchucks clatter to the floor. He laughs it off, but Splinter sees frustration. Michelangelo, your spirit is as light as the wind, and yet tonight I sense a shadow beneath it. Is there something troubling you? Nah, Sensei. I'm good. Just, doing my thing. Ah, doing your thing. The mask of humor he wears is thin tonight. Perhaps he hides more than he shows. Tell me, son, what is it that you hope to find in laughter alone? Well, I don't know, Sensei. I mean, I guess keep things fun. Nobody has to worry, right? The guys, they're serious enough as it is, so somebody's got to make things, less heavy. And you, my son, carry that weight alone. Michelangelo understands. He is the bringer of the laughter, and he fears that without it he's unworthy of love. But beneath the laughter there is a heart that longs to be understood. Oh, Michelangelo, you wield the nunchaku, a weapon that demands focus and control. Well, tell me, why do you believe you must keep things light for others? I don't know, Sensei. It's like I'm scared if I'm not the fun one, then I'm just there. I'm not smart like Donnie. I'm not strong like Ralph or brave like Leo. I'm just Mikey, and it's not enough. My son, you are more than you allow yourself to see. You believe laughter is your only gift, but there is a strength in you that is just as powerful. Do you know that your brothers look to you not only for laughter, but for the courage to see light in the darkness? Well, I thought about like that, Sensei, I guess.
Sometimes I just don't feel like him enough, so I figure I'll keep him smiling and, they won't notice how I feel. My son, true strength lies not in always bringing laughter, but in allowing yourself to be seen as you are, vulnerable, uncertain, yet always true. This, my son, is the heart of the Ninjago. For its chaos, there is balance. So if I'm not on all the time, I don't always make them laugh, huh? It's okay. Of course, my child. Your brothers do not need you for your laughter, need you for your heart, your compassion, and your bravery, and for being you. It is not in laughter, but in the courage to be oneself. As Amato Yoshi changed lives and destinies, traveling to America after his loved one was taken from him, from the one who later would be known as Shredder, he became a father to four unlikely souls, and he instilled each of these with a weapon. He saw greatness in teaching his children the way of the ninja. Amato Yoshi, Splinter, would grant each of them a weapon. Michelangelo would get to the nunchaku. Splinter saw much in this choice. As Michelangelo lacks focus, Michelangelo's scattered attention makes it hard for him to control the unpredictable movements of the nunchucks. So mastering them helps instill focus and discipline. Michelangelo shows impulsive actions. His tendency to act without thinking often leads to mistakes. The nunchucks require patience and careful timing, teaching him to think before acting. Clear to see Michelangelo is overly playful, and that nature can make him careless, but the risk of injury with the nunchucks encourages him to be more serious and cautious. Difficulty with structure. Michelangelo resists routine, yet practicing with the nunchucks demands that he follows a consistent practice schedule, building structure in his life. Avoiding consequences. Acting without consideration of the outcome. But the nunchaku requires him to be mindful of every move, or he'll find the consequences happening to himself firsthand. Hamato Yoshi saw restless energy. His high energy levels lead to reckless behavior. The precision needed for nunchucks channels this energy into something productive. Inconsistent effort, Michelangelo would give up if it's too challenging, but the nunchucks and their difficulty teach persistence and commitment. Being easily distracted, losing focus, the complexity of the nunchuck movements demand full attention, teaching him how to tune out distractions. So carefree and unprepared, liking to wing it, but the nunchucks do not forgive mistakes. Prepare and respect the weapon's power, preferring fun over responsibility, a natural inclination for fun over discipline, conflicts with the focus and maturity that nunchucks require, guides him to balance fun and responsibility. Can we see parts of ourselves in Michelangelo? Absolutely. Now, what about Donatello? Donatello was given the bow staff. Someone so scientific, so thought, So blueprint, so scientific. Master Splinter gave Donatello a stick because the reliance on complexity. Donatello prefers complex situations, but the simplicity of the bow staff challenges him to see the effectiveness in straightforward tools and approaches. Focus on results is a problem. He expects immediate measurable outcomes, yet the bow staff teaches him patience. Mastering is a gradual process without instant feedback. You can't measure everything. Donatello relies so heavily on gadgets. Using a basic wooden staff helps him engage with the surroundings without technological assistance, becoming part of his environment. Without exact plans, the bow staff has no buttons. So it really does require adaptability of self. Without exact plans, the bow staff has no buttons. So it really does require adaptability of self. He has to think on his own feet and react to unexpected situations. And you can't have evidence or proof. The scientific method is ineffective here, yet subtle faith in desired skill. Not everything needs evidence to work. And it usually is comforting for Donatello to find an intellectual solution. If it turns into a situation where the mind can win, I think that would be his way to go about it. But this avoidance of physical solutions, the bow staff pushes him into physical action. So he has to balance and use his physical skills. Donatello's reliance on gadgets makes him feel weak without them, so the bow staff reminds him that he himself is the powerful tool behind the extension of himself. He loves predetermined outcomes. Those are the results that you're waiting for. The bow staff in combat forces him to improvise over and over and over again, to be flexible in real time. An overthinking analytical mind like Donatello can stall him in a situation, but the simplicity of the bow staff requires instinctive actions, helping him trust his intuition more. And those choices, that instinctual this or that choice will come to him naturally when there's only this or that to choose from. And everything can't be rational, of course, but as a scientific mind, Donatello, instinct and feelings can be just as powerful as logic. The bow staff would teach him. Hamato Yoshi, Master Splinter gifted Raphael to challenge and grow him with the Sai. The Sai was a defensive tool. It was not an aggressive weapon. Raphael's short temper, his impatience, impulsiveness, now with the Sais, require calmness and restraint. He's drawn to attack, yet the defensive nature of the weapon makes him wait for the right moment, teaching him to manage aggression and only strike when necessary. Raphael, having an impulsive personality, can only use the Sai effectively, like a game of chess, to anticipate the opponent's moves, pushing them to develop foresight and yourself to create. Someone like Raphael shows difficulty with misdirection. He's direct and blunt, and it usually works. But the side does revolve around misdirection and diversion, encouraging to him using strategy and subtlety instead of rushing head on. To dominate conflicts, his need for control, the side makes him learn flexibility, let go of control, and go with the flow. Such a preference for physical action over thought, but the Sai forces him to slow down in the honor of the weapon itself. through their great father and teacher, Amato Yoshi. Leonardo's beautiful weapon of choice, the katana blade, the weapon of the samurai, to end lives, to stop governments, to end lineages. A very yes or no weapon. Now, Leonardo and his challenges and growth with the katana get a little complicated. If you have thoughts on yourself, you can see Leonardo feels so responsible for everyone's safety. And the katana, counterintuitively, is a weapon of finality. It teaches him the weight of choices. Like it or not, choices are not ambiguous. Sometimes they are hard left or a hard right. And being responsible for everyone's safety, you see what a challenging middle ground and how far away everything must be from where Leonardo would stand in that position of leader, seeing one thing between him, that blade, and that blade goes one way or the other, and he feels there alone. He alone bears those burdens. His perfectionism to be flawless, which is impossible. Nothing is flawless. So when he does have a flaw in his own self, it leads to self-doubt. But the katana blade, many lessons teach him the mistakes are part of mastery. A beautiful form of the katana blade itself that Splinter teaches him. The blade itself is imperfect. A fear of failure, letting people down. But the katana nature reminds him that mistakes do carry lessons, reinforcing failure as a stepping stone in growth. These choices must be made. Pressure makes him but the swiftness of the katana blade disrupts this pressure and allows him to ease into the grace and the poetry of the weapon. The discipline, the improving constantly for himself and his brothers, but alone, using the katana in training, only fluid, adaptable movement through the wind and air can yield the power of the weapon itself. And the biggest thing in the vision I see is the morally gray decisions. Leonardo has an incredibly strong moral compass and is challenged by the katana's purpose. It forces Leonardo to confront difficult choices and recognize that leadership involves tough, sometimes morally ambiguous decisions. That's a hard one to look at, right? His desire to protect innocence, to keep the purity as a leader, protect his brothers. He sees them as his younger brothers, of course, but Amato Yoshi, through the gift of the katana blade, reminds him that his brothers, must face difficult realities as well. And that helps Leonardo accept that they need to experience their own challenges. To be the warrior and the protector makes him feel torn, but leadership, balance, and compassion to protect and the strength to fight, and the blend of them both is what makes him a leader. I hope you liked listening to this. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you know when we'll be notified next. Find me on social media, Eddie O. Hashtag Eddie O knows.